What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Culture 316 podcast. I'm one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Nahisi.
Joined by your co-host, Mo. What is up, people?
And we're at the start of season 5. This is actually the first time we have been in person doing the show.
It's very long overdue.
It's very long overdue. I wish y'all were here for the sound check because things got hectic. All right. And if the sound check was a preview of anything of how this episode is going to go, I am petrified. But as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in on Apple or Spotify podcasts, be sure to to subscribe, give the show a 5 stars. If you are on YouTube, be sure to give us a like, a comment, and subscribe on there as well. We're not going to waste any more time, though, per usual, and we're going to get right into the show. First things first. So Hunter and HBK heard our cry because it looks like Sexy Red will be appearing on next week's episode. You did call it.
And we won't get a Kids Bop version.
Yeah, as long as we don't get Kids Bop Sexy Red, we'll be good to go. But it seems like she was advertised for the May 28th edition of NXT. Trick's going to be there. I'm pretty sure Lash Legend's going to be there. I'm just curious to know, how do you feel about Sexy Red being on this episode of NXT?
Oh, it's fucking lit. I'm excited. But I'm more excited if they actually include her in the promo. Like, I feel like she could handle a script. Like, we see her act a fool on social media all the time. I just feel like, get her involved. Even if it's something temporary. Yeah. You know, do they have like a pay-per-view coming up anytime soon for NXT?
They have Battleground on June 7th, I believe.
Okay, that's around the corner. Like, just plug her in there and then actually have her perform over there. Yeah. Don't let her perform on the regular NXT. Have her perform for if she can make it. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. Because I don't think we ever had any form of rap entertainment at all. Have we ever, like, not an NXT, not like Monday or Friday night.
Just on NXT?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this counts, but when Swerve won the North American title, they had the Hit Row Cypher.
No, that's different. That's different because, like, they're making it. They're like the actual entertainment. But I'm talking about like outside entertainment, actual rappers, actual hip hop artists. Like, it'd be a first.
Yeah, that would be.
It'd be super exciting. So. And it's definitely a big detour. I mean, NXT was kind of bought up on. Well, we had metalheads for the most part.
Yeah, literally.
And rock music. We had like people like Poppy. Probably was the most eccentric thing that we had. But Sexy Red, be fucking amazing.
I agree. I also think that this just solidifies that wrestling is for who? The blacks. So I'm just super excited. Yeah, we can say that. But I'm super excited. Once I think we kind of talked about it on the show previously so many times that hip hop should be integrated more into wrestling. Consider how avid the hip hop community is about pro wrestling. And at this point in time in wrestling, that hip hop and wrestling go hand in hand. Obviously, in AEW, we have Swerve as the AEW World Champion. He's a rapper. He's made appearances at multiple rap festivals. DJ Who Kid obviously was at All In London. So I'm just really, really excited that wrestling and hip hop are taking a more formal merging, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, we saw Meek Mill at Mania. Get up! We saw him at Mania do his thing. Yeah, that should be the name of the season premiere is Get Up. But it's just really, really nice to see. And I feel like this all ties in like hand in hand with Nick Khan and his involvement. Obviously, him being involved in the entertainment industry for so long, he knows what's hot. He knows what's not. He has a pulse on what's going on in culture. And I feel like for a long time, WWE and the entertainment industry, there was such a large gap because a lot of times the powers that be were kind of leaning into their preferences as opposed to leaning into what could be profitable for them. So seeing Sexy Red on an NXT product, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what song she'll perform on any NXT or even the NXT. Cause what song? What Sexy Red song? Like Pound Town? Like Pound Town is not being performed at Battleground or NXT episode. You know?
What's that one that she be twerking to that's like on loop on TikTok?
I feel like that's all of them.
That is, but like there's one specifically. And I mean, it's not like we don't see twerking all over NXT. We got Lola Vice doing it now.
Yeah, literally.
Before she does her finisher. So I don't think it's that far off to bring her in. Just mute a few things, maybe switch out the words.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, it's a choice. Like I said, I expected like Megan or someone to be on before Sexy Red, but I think it's fitting. You know, I love to see like actual artists that are genuine wrestling fans, you know, have a chance to get on the show. It's going to bring more eyes to the product. But again, shout out to Trick Williams because literally his sex appeal brought her to the dance. Again, I don't even know what she watches every day. I don't know what she watches weekly, but like that's just cool. It's just cool in general. Like yo, like a bunch of people are going to be watching next week or what you said May
28th. Yes,
May 28th. All because of Trick just doing what he does best. It's great.
I was going to say, speaking of that, this is a little bit of a detour. I remember there was a little post that Zoe Stark made essentially saying like, wow, all these women's wrestlers are using their butts now for finishing moves. It was some tweet that was like on the lines of that. And it threw me off. I don't know if you saw it. I think you probably did. But it was just like oh, so everybody's just using their butt now for a finishing move. And it felt really passive aggressive. I think it was like a Nikita shot. It was a Jada Parker shot. Do you have a problem with butt finishing butt finishing moves? Like,
I mean, they were sprinkled around before we had the Rikishis, you know. And then Naomi hit us with the rear view. But it is spam nowadays. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Part of wrestling has an aspect of selling sex appeal. You know, it's not as directly in our faces as it was when we grew up as kids, but it's understood what people are into nowadays, and it still draws numbers. Some of the moves I don't really like. I can't stand Nikita's finisher, especially because like she's an actual fighter. Yeah. Well, maybe not an actual fighter. She does kickboxing or something like that. She does incorporate it, but it's just like a weird finisher. It's just weird to me. This is basically say, hey, I'm flexible and my ass is fat. Lola Vice, I mean, I don't dislike her, but I feel like for some reason with the way she spams it comes off to me annoying. Jada Parker, I mean, she's getting there. I don't think it's an issue that it's a finisher per se, but I wish it was more just implied and not like a finisher. Yeah. Like we already know you caked up. Like that's why we're paying more attention to you. But like I'd rather just be like a bonus and you're actually good. Like when Naomi does her rear view, I don't mind it because she don't make her ass the center of attention. You just happen to I mean, you can't get away from it. That shit huge. But like she has so many other signatures than just the rear view. And she always sets it up differently to where it don't annoy me. Yeah. And also like to get up there, like to actually jump and get your legs up there, like that takes like an actual skill. Right, as opposed to Nikita just jumping and then just doing the most sloppiest split I ever seen. I hope she's not doing that to men. Cause I look like it would hurt, by the way. I always think about that every time I see that move. Like who told her to do this?
Probably men. Probably a man or herself.
Right. But it's not, to me, bad. I feel like it's the way they're going about it. I don't think it's something that's going to make it onto the main roster, truthfully.
That makes sense. I mean, we'll see, because remember, like, Hunter is in charge now, so we don't know.
I see Sean liking that. Like, Sean's clearly an ass man. That's what I'm learning from this whole experience. Nah, Sean be signing bad bitches.
Yo. Not Sean being a Billy Gunn.
I'm just seeing a pattern with the people that Sean be choosing. So... But I don't think Hunter is going to do that. I feel like he's going to try to sharpen them. Like, I feel like he does actually like Nikita, for what I've seen. So I feel like he probably would force her to be like, hey, just be more of a fighter so people would take you a little bit more seriously, you know? Because I feel like he does well with that. He has taken people that are completely not talented and it's painfully obvious that, yeah, like you're here because of sex appeal. Like Alexa Bliss, for example. Yeah. Even though I think her ass is unimpressive. But like he took her and managed to make, not him specifically, but... the way she was presented, they made it so that she still felt like a legitimate wrestler, even though I don't see her. I don't agree with that. But it was implied that she's just an attractive woman, you know? But you look at her as a legitimate wrestler. Yeah. I don't know. Just me personally. Do you have an issue with it?
Honestly, I don't. I feel like if you know what it is, here's my thing about it. If y'all weren't making a big deal over super kicks being overused, you should make a big deal of, I guess, your rear end being overused.
Those are not like near the same thing.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, but it's the same concept in the sense that like something can become so popular and can also be in alignment with your strengths. So you just kind of like utilize it. Granted, once again, it's not the same thing.
No, not at all.
It's not the same thing.
Can you pick a different example?
But it's a similar concept in the sense that like people just kind of lean into the super kick and they just do it all the time. But I mean, I don't know. I personally don't think it's overused. And I think that the reason why I don't think it's overused is because I think when she was talking about meaning Zoe Stark, I think that when she was talking about that, I think it was like a correlation to the NXT women. And there's such a diversity of women in NXT.
Yeah.
That I'm looking at like Roxanne, and I'm looking at Cora Jade, and I'm looking at Kiana James, even though she just got drafted, or and Jada Parker and Lola Vice and stuff like that. So it's like it's not like everybody is doing the same thing. It's like you have a person kind of in this position doing it, and then you have a person in this position doing it. But I don't see like so much of it that I gotta be like, oh my God, why is everyone using their butt? But I don't know. I'm kind of like impartial to it. I don't see the issue in it. It's
not hurting nobody.
Yeah, it's not hurting nobody. Could be.
Who's complaining about ass? Yeah. Be for real. Be for real. Please.
She said it, not me. But yeah, I mean, that concludes this topic pertaining to Sexy Red and apparently butt. So if y'all have any questions or concerns or comments about it, let us know in the comments below. We're going to be moving on because speaking of the NXT women's division, Sean Spears and Natalya made comments recently praising the NXT women's division, just kind of talking about the diversity and talking about how there's such a bright future. I wanted to know your take on the NXT women.
They definitely came a long way. I don't think really NXT ever had a bad crop of women, but as you similarly put it before, it's the most diverse. Most of the women that they choose, they actually came from real wrestling schools, or they just have a very interesting background. And they're all like finding their characters. But I feel like when they were in not their 1.0, but I guess like their 2.0, when they had like the splatter paint phase, you had like a bunch of people that were talented, but like their characters weren't completely hitting. I feel like what I really like about the NXT women is that like they're already like grabbing a character that kind of like works with the audience. And I kind of almost find the NXT women, even though like they still need work to do, like you can see that they're actually like trying really hard to perfect their wrestling. I'm more, for some reason, interested, and I gravitate towards their crop of women than what we got on the main roster. Not that the main roster is doing bad. They're doing very good. I like the booking. Yeah. But I feel like part of the WWE experience is like really connecting to a character first, and then, the wrestling can always catch up. Yeah. It always has time to catch up. Like one of my favorites, I always praise her. I love watching her. But Soul Roca, I love her. She's one of those people where like she doesn't necessarily need a particular character because she kind of just comes off like this beachy vibe girl. I don't know how to explain it, but she's just like a vibe. Yeah. She's just a vibe. I love her. You have like the main woman like Roxanne, she has all the time in the world to be like the greatest of all time. She might even feel like a Sasha Banks, who even knows? Just because like,
wow, that's a big comparison.
It's just that she's very good. I just think if she just worked on her voice. Yeah. If she just worked on her voice and her delivery, I feel like she could be the greatest of all time. The funny thing is that when I would see her and like Cora Jade, I just always think, oh yeah, Cora Jade's gonna be the it girl. But ironically enough, people don't like her as much as Roxanne, and like Roxanne's growing on everybody. I mean, there's a reason why they put her at the front for their new logo pictures when they chose the 3 and 3. It's a choice. Like they already see that Roxanne's like the it girl. But there's a lot of it girls over there. So I think it's a very good crop. I definitely love what we got to work with. It makes me more excited for, in the years coming on when they bring them onto the main roster, if they want to like dabble them into like the Royal Rumble and stuff. Like there's so much more to, I feel like it'll be a better transitioning. Yeah. With this group of women. So I don't know. I like it. What do you think?
I think that, like you said, this is the most diverse NXT women's roster I think that we've ever seen. I think that we're seeing not just so many different shapes, sizes, colors, characters, and even down to like, once again, even though she just got drafted, Kiana James was someone I thoroughly enjoyed. And to kind of see her mix it up with the Jada Parkers and the Miss Jacksons and, obviously Nikita being down there and even her little, I think her name is Izzy Dane. And then also Kalani Jordan, another one who is a very good standout athlete. Roxanne, Cora Jade. I have a take. I feel like Roxanne and Cora, if they decide to build on that story, they could be very, very similar to a Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa type of vibe.
Yeah. How much longer does
Cora
have out?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
It was like a foot injury or something?
I think something pertaining to the foot or the leg, something in that area. So it's probably going to take a little bit, but
I feel bad for her because like I really liked her little heel work and the way I know like it was like people were mad because they were saying why she got all this work done and stuff like that. But I kind of liked her look. I feel like it fit her. She came back looking more heelish to me, even though she was presenting a heel. She kind of came off like very kiddish to me.
Yeah.
But I've been watching her kind of grow and mature into like this heel character. And I was just beginning to like her. And then she just got injured abruptly. And I feel like she's missing her moment. And I feel like they were planning on having something. Well, you compared it to Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I was thinking for some reason Sasha and Bailey in my head. I don't know why. Yeah, I feel like that's like been their whole like placements since the moment they showed up on the scene.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I like that. Sasha and Bailey. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I'm a numb nut.
I guess that's why I made that comparison in my head with like Roxanne and Sasha. That's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what it's
giving. They give off like in-ring generals, wrestlers type of, I get it. I understand. But to the main point, I think that, this NXT women's division, I think this is probably the best. That not just the most diverse, but the actual best class it's ever been. Because when we're talking about the NXT system, I think that a big complaint, even before 1.0, was like a lot of these girls and guys were going up through the NXT system and it just didn't translate to the main roster, right? And it was like they would be heavily accomplished in NXT and then they go to the main roster and it's like a bleh. And I think the only exceptions of that were really like the 4 horsewomen, Rhea, Bianca, and Asuka.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of starting to see kind of like a revamp in like a lot of the girls that were popular in NXT. And I think that's largely in part due to Hunter being in charge and he knows how to utilize those women. But
he's big on long-term storytelling.
So I think that, the women that came up through NXT that are in the main roster now were great. I feel like this group can potentially be the best group to go from NXT to the main roster because I feel like you have a system in place where hand in hand are going together, right? Like NXT, the main roster, there isn't an intention to hold anyone back. There isn't an intention to be like, okay, we'll just go to catering. Or, we don't have anything for you. We're just going to keep milking Charlotte or milking Bailey or milking whomever. It's just like, nah. Like Sean and Hunter kind of like, yeah, I'm going to deal with them down here. I'm going to send them up to you. And we're going to make sure that this is all good.
And it's a good thing, too, because I like the fact that you brought up, like, spamming Charlotte or spamming, like, Becky or whatnot, because, like, there's a reason why they had to lean on them, and it's because they haven't created actual stars. Like, if you had a lot of stars positioned, even if, like, not everyone's meant to be, like, at the top of the top, but, like, have, like, an actual, not a pyramid, if you will, but I don't want to say hierarchy, because that feels like the wrong word, but you have classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, if you have, like, classes of, like, the perfect mid-card women, maybe women that could be positioned from mid-card to being like a top star. You need to have something in the rotation so that the show won't ever lack or you won't spam someone to the point that like the fans, because you know how annoying this audience is. This fan base pisses me off so much, bro. No, because we will beg for someone to be in the top and then like once we see them on TV a little too much, whatever is too much to them, it's like we just hate them. Like the on and off Bianca hate train, just I can't.
It's nuts.
But I don't think we're going to have that problem with this crop.
I agree. And I also feel like a lot of the girls in this crop, this is going to be my last point because I'm trying to go to the next day.
Are you good?
I feel like another thing about this crop is the versatility. All of them have the potential to be not just great heels, but also great faces. So like when I look at a Lash Legend, I'm like, oh, she could be a face too, but she's killing it as a heel. Oh, yeah. Cora Jade, she could be a face too, but she's killing it as a heel. We obviously saw like Roxanne as a face and as a heel. So there's a versatility with this crop where anyone could be anything so that at the drop of a dime, oh, they don't like me? Oh, bet I'm hopping in that bag. And I think that that's just like another plus. But yeah, let us know how y'all feel about this current group of women in NXT. Let us know in the comments below. But we are going to be moving on. So speaking of women in WWE, it seems as if this is a rumor. Sean Ross Sapp has reported that Natalya is set to be a free agent within the coming weeks, maybe within the coming months. If this were to be a thing, if Natalya actually is a free agent, do you see her re-signing with WWE? Do you see her going to AEW? Do you see her going anywhere else in the world?
My question is, what the hell is Natalya's like overall purpose? And I don't mean that in a shady way, but like, what does she want to look back on with her career if she wants to even embark on going to another company? You know, I understand that she wants to like rep the Hart Dynasty, but it's just like, what is she doing for herself individually? Like, is she trying to be a champion? Is she trying to be at the top of the food chain? Is she just trying to help other people out? That's just like my biggest question mark with her. I could easily see AEW picking her up because she'll fit right in. I mean, if you like to watch good wrestling, then yeah, like, you know, she could mix up with anybody and really anyone. I, for some reason, would like to see her be like a trainer or something. But do I have any excitement for seeing her? Not really. I don't dislike Natalya. I just think that she's kind of flat.
Yeah.
There's some investment into her. Someone will probably pick her up, but it's like, but for what? Like, what is the objective with her? Do you have a take?
So I'm going to start with this. I feel like everybody can't be the top girl. Everybody can't be the top guy. And I feel like in wrestling, you have top people who are actually top people. You have people who may not be in that top position that feel like they should be in that top position. You have people who are in a different position who are just content with their position. And then you have people who kind of understand that they can't be the top person and they're just going to get where they can and help where they can. I feel like Natty is one of those people. The reputation for Natalya in WWE is, you send them to Natalya, she's going to get y'all right. And I feel like that's very valuable. I feel like not everybody can be a Bianca. Not everybody can be a Rhea. Not everybody can be a four horsewoman. And I feel like Natalya is respected because she has been able to accomplish a lot. She's had periods and eras where she popped off and she did her thing. For the most part, though, she's really been there to help other people. And I feel like when you are someone who is looking to help other people, you'll always be valuable.
But did she look to help other people, or she's settling for helping people because she's just not that girl?
I think
because they don't give her a respectable storyline ever at all.
True, but at the same time, once again, remember the majority of her time in WWE, Vince was in charge. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, was she gonna be the person that was gonna get that storyline, right? And I feel like now more than ever. Like I'm looking at even down to when she's going down to NXT. And last big name that we saw go down to NXT was Becky, right? She did it out of her own heart. I think that Natty is doing the same. I feel like because she has a certain amount of pull in WWE because of her time and her tenure there and her reputation, I feel like she wants to help more than anything. Like, don't get me wrong, to be a top girl, to be a top guy is great. Get top girl, top guy money.
She has to be, but she's like, you came from like an iconic family, and that's like the only thing. No disrespect to her, because she's probably a nice person. She's great at wrestling, but it's like the only thing I feel like that's keeping her really on payroll, because there are people that are more entertaining than her. I wouldn't say wrestle better than her, but like they let them go for whatever reason. They just let them go, but they keep her around almost as if like this is like some form of consolidation or constellation.
But think about it like this, though. If I'm keeping you around, even though I'm letting more entertainment people go, like, because honestly, like, we're fans, so we're looking at it from a certain perspective. But it's like, if they're letting go more entertaining people and they're keeping Natty, that means that woman has value. And I feel like regardless of if she's settling for helping others or she's doing it out of her own heart, that versatility and having the heart to do that is going to position her to be able to be in so many different companies. Because we hear it all the time. Oh, I had to leave. They were holding me back. Oh my God, I was in prison, even though it was just a company that gave you a storyline that you didn't want. But it's like, sis is just like, hey, yo, I could work with you. Come down to the gym. We can You know what I'm saying? If you need help, I got you. If you need me to be in this storyline, I got you. That opens up so many possibilities. And just having someone who's just willing to put other people over. It takes, whether you settle for that or not, it takes a great amount of humility to settle into that role, even though from a technical wrestling standpoint, you're operating at such a high level. Not talking about like promo work, on-camera work, just your ability in the ring. Like Natty can go with the guys. You know what I'm saying? So just to be able to step into that role, I think shows how much value she has. But
I see both sides. I guess I just feel bad for her is all. Cause I always ask myself, what is going to be shown her Hall of Fame package?
Her and the cat. Remember her and the cat? She used to bring a cat on screen.
Not the cat. I just feel like that's all I had to look back at. Like, what are her iconic moments? Like backstage, yes, you're very respected. You know, you have a lot to offer to the company. It's just that, again, individually, like, I kind of wish she was selfish.
Honestly, she had a time. Like, I think it was SummerSlam 2018 or 27. No, it wasn't 2018. That was when Becky and Charlotte had their thing. I think it was SummerSlam 2017, and it was like for the SmackDown Women's title, and it was her and Naomi. That was a good match, and that was a good feud.
That was good. I feel like the only other times I liked any of her beats was her versus Nikki, and then that time, I guess she set it off for the new Sasha Banks during her blue hair. You know,
that's enough to put in the package. That's enough to put in the package. That's enough. That's enough for the Hall of Fame package. But I think, yeah. Let us know how y'all feel about Natty. Where should she go? I personally think that she can go to AEW.
What?
Huh?
It's a retirement.
Just rude. I'm going to say AEW. I don't know where I'm looking, but I'm going to say AEW, but let us know in the comments how y'all feel. But we're going to be moving on. So it looks like WWE SummerSlam after this year will be expanding to 2 nights. They will be the first 2-night SummerSlam, which is going to be 2026, if I'm not mistaken. 2026 to 2025 is set to take place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's going to be the first 2-night SummerSlam. First of all, I want to know how you feel about it. And how do you feel about SummerSlam being 2 nights? Do you feel like the 2-night PLE should be exclusive for WrestleMania?
It's 2 ways to look at it because I like when WrestleMania felt unique. I was completely in support of like the 2-day package. But for SummerSlam, people had always said that it's like a second WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not, I wouldn't say it's wrong. But do you feel like the last few SummerSlams felt that it gave you that takeaway that every match on there counted and that it needs to be split up at all? Because I just can't remember too many recent SummerSlams where I had that feeling. Like maybe I like the very ending, or maybe like 2 to 3 matches, but that's just my biggest thing. Like, is the card gonna be worthy enough of a 2-night spectacular? What do you think?
To be honest, now that we've kind of distinguished, and you're right, because SummerSlam is kind of labeled as WrestleMania in the sun. But while I haven't seen that, like, oh man, every match is a must see. I feel like I've gotten it in the past 2 years because of the Bloodline storyline. I feel like it has kind of pushed WWE to a place where everything on the card has to matter because this main event matters, right? But I feel like they have the potential to even fine-tune that even more. If SummerSlam is going to be the summer spectacular, right? If it is going to be the summer WrestleMania, which I think that is what the point is of making it a 2-day PLE is, I feel like it can be put into a space where it's like every match counts. And I feel like, I mean, we've seen it over the past couple years. The quality of WrestleMania has increased drastically. The 2-day WrestleMania has qualified WrestleMania 40 as being one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time.
Yeah.
And so when you put that into perspective, it's like, okay, what other events can be all-time WWE pay-per-views if we just move it to 2 days? And how can we utilize all these other cities? They may not even be WrestleMania cities, but can hold an event like a SummerSlam. I do not want to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota in April. I don't. June?
I don't want to be at all. What the hell? Like, what is in Minnesota? I've been thinking about it. Like, y'all could have went with a better spot.
I mean, the Timberwolves, the Vikings, Prince's estate is in
When
is
have
in
you
Minnesota.
ever talked about Vikings with me?
I mean, you don't talk football. So, like, the Viking Raiders could have a great tag team match when they decide to come back. They can have, like, a homecoming. It could be a whole thing. It's good for the brand.
I don't know why this was disrespectful to me. Like, you could have went with anywhere else, Minnesota.
That's true.
What am I do for 2 nights in Minnesota? 2 nights.
Mall of America. It's the best.
The mall?
The biggest mall in America.
Get out of here.
Have a ball.
Get out of here.
You can visit where WCW had their first ever Nitro. Mall of America. Largest mall in America. Whoop-dee. You feel me? But back to the main point. I feel like this is a smart move. I feel like it also opens up possibilities for other host cities that may not necessarily be good for WrestleMania months. I feel like if the idea of SummerSlam is to be WrestleMania in the sun, they can have SummerSlam largely on the East Coast. I could see a SummerSlam at MetLife. I could see a SummerSlam in Philly, in DC, in Boston.
Those are way better choices.
They're way better choices because we're from the East Coast, of course. I mean, in addition to the fact that the cities are
I'm
just
gonna say
better.
like you want to the same way they're doing well, actually, no, I don't want them to copy piece of packages because the packages are like cool and it should be just a WrestleMania thing. But if they wanted to in the near future, like you could at least establish some packages for them if you go off the East side. But I'm gonna let you get back to your point.
But I just feel like SummerSlam can greatly benefit from, number one, it being a 2-day PLE, and number two, it kind of being presented as the WrestleMania I'm calling that WrestleMania in the sun.
Yeah.
From now on.
Yeah. I was like, did he just make that? Okay, I saw this move.
I was a bar. I was on the top of the head. You feel me? But I think this is a smart move. I want to know what everybody else thinks. Do you think that SummerSlam should be a 2-day PLE? Let us know in the comments below. But we're moving on. Yeah. So Johnny Gargano recently had an interview, and he said that AJ Styles is the best wrestler of this generation. I need to know. Is he? Is AJ Styles goated? Is he one of the best? Is he the best wrestler of this generation or not? Agree or disagree?
The answer is duh, but you know what it just made me think about? Not because I had asked on my Snapchat, like, what is your most controversial wrestling take? And someone said he was underrated, and I just had to expose him. It just felt blasphemous. Like, what do you mean?
You feel uncultured.
Yeah, because like I didn't even grow up with the TNA AJ Styles that you were. I missed that era. I had to go back. I wasn't there in real time with y'all, but I got presented watching him in the E, and I'm very much impressed. And that's not even his peak work.
Right.
You know, he does the perfect amount of everything. And I kind of like the way they almost like microdose him. Like he always feels like he's important. He feels legendary. He puts on the best matches. He be impressing the hell out of me with the way he does his transitions and his counter. And he's smooth like butter, bro. And he looks fucking great for his age. Just fucking great.
Bro, that match with him and Cody?
Yeah.
Dog was brawling. Like,
everyone's like he's on the juice. I mean, he
perhaps.
Probably.
Maybe.
But like, I feel like if he wasn't as great as he was, why would The Undertaker not have chosen him for?
Exactly.
That's it. He could have went with anyone else for that, you know? But yeah, we were in the pandemic. Yeah, you know, they were doing a lot of cinematic goofy things, but like he wanted one person to literally bury him and like put the nail in the coffin, and he went with AJ. Like two different well, they're not that far off in age, but whatever. 2 different generations of wrestlers. He went with him. Like, if that don't tell you enough, like to me, Undertaker's like one of the greatest like wrestlers of all time. Not like in terms of like wrestling, but just like what he means to wrestling in terms of being a legend. Like, I just feel like that was him just passing the torch. Like, enough said. What do you think?
First of all, you had me weak when you were like, first of all, the answer is duh.
Yeah.
That was mad funny. But I would have to say, yeah. And I think that I have a deeper appreciation for AJ Styles because I've been following him since TNA. To this day, like the triple threat match that AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe had at Unbreakable 2005 is like one of my top 5 wrestling matches ever. And you got to also understand, like, the era that AJ Styles came up in, I'm talking about Samoa. It was him. It was AJ. I mean, not AJ. It was AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Motor City Machine Guns. At the time, the Young Bucks were coming up. Like, AJ's class, Bryan Danielson, like CM Punk, like his class of wrestlers, Cesaro, Nigel McGuinness, like the class of wrestlers that AJ Styles grew up around or came up around is goated. If you take the top 5 wrestlers from AJ Styles' time period and you put them together in like a faction, they're smoking everybody. They're cooking everybody. And I feel like just the fact that you were able to be like, his WWE work is sufficient. And like you said, they have been microdosing him. And that's the reason why he doesn't feel old, or he doesn't feel like, oh my God, when is he going to leave? It's because we're getting like little bits and pieces of him. Yeah. And like, it's parts of his past that are integrated as well. We get like a little bit of Bullet Club AJ. We get a little bit of like TNA babyface AJ. We get a little bit of TNA heel AJ. We get a little bit of like what we have now. I forgot who he said. I forgot who said it. I think it was Paul Heyman. He said that AJ Styles was this generation Shawn Michaels.
Ooh.
And I agree.
That's one hell of a compliment. Ooh.
That's a big...
You can't compare too many people to Shawn without imitating Shawn. And the funny thing about it is AJ has garnered the Shawn Michaels comparison, but Shawn and AJ are 2 totally different performers. So I feel like AJ is definitely like the best wrestler of his generation. And I think that not only is he one of the best, he's also one of the most influential because technically he's not super tall, but he's been able to integrate every style. He does every kind of style of wrestling into his style. He has presented to America what it is to be the perfect hybrid wrestler. A little bit of lucha libre, a little bit of classic, like American style, classic European style. He's everything in one human being with a Southern accent, which makes it... I believe that the earth is flat.
Damn. So now it's Kyrie Irving.
Community, right?
Yo, oh my God. That clip is still one of the... I don't even want to get into that. That's one of the most unhinged clips I've ever seen in my life, bro. The early 2000s was an unhinged. I feel like you would be at home in the early 2000s. I feel like if we were to time travel back to 2002, you would just be like, this is home. This is where I belong. Like you would just listen. Like you would just listen to the first verse of Where the Hood At by DMX, and you're just like, this is my type of music.
Right.
By the way, don't listen to that verse. Don't listen to that verse. It is the most disgusting homophobic thing, yet the most early 2000s thing. You would be in 2002 with a jersey dress like this is my people. This is where I belong. Not to get off track, but yeah. Do y'all think that AJ Styles is the best wrestler of this generation? Let us know in the comments below. But we're going to be moving on because his Bullet Club companion, Cody Rhodes, said that he would like a classic wrestling manager. So we're going to do a little bit of fantasy booking on this one. If you were to pair Cody Rhodes with a classic wrestling manager, any time, any period, dead or alive, who would it be? Who would you pair with Cody Rhodes as his manager right now during this run of his career?
When you put that in the rundown, I stared at it for like 5 minutes because I'm like, why does he want one? Like, I thought the whole purpose of Cody being inserted was like, he's like our John Cena now. Mm-hmm. So it's like, when did John Cena ever need a manager? Did he have some buddies? Yeah, I guess, but I kind of like him on his own. And he's good at talking. Usually, like, you want a manager because like they feel like they're a star, they look like a star, they perform like a star. They just need something else to get them over, like to make that full-on connection. I don't think it's necessary. But if they did, I guess want someone that's aggressive, very aggressive. Part of me is like, does he need like maybe a woman? Nah, he doesn't need a woman. I feel like I feel like it'd be funny to watch him have someone that's controversial. Like him with Cornette for some reason.
That would be hilarious.
Would actually work because of the opposing dynamics. Cody is so calm and soft. That's my only ick about him. Anytime I try to present Cody to like an older person like my dad, he's a huge Rock and Stone Cold guy. Like he watched Cody for 5 minutes with The Rock and he just kept calling him soft the entire time. He slandered him so much for crying over his kid.
Right.
He's like, that's not a man. I'm like,
it's like, oh, damn. Thanks. Thanks.
I'm like, it's his daughter. He's just like, so why is he crying like a weak ass punk? And I'm like, yeah. So I was like, maybe he could use someone that's a little aggressive.
Right.
You know, because I don't think Cody is soft. That's because I'm used to Cody. I adore Cody. But I'm like, you know what? Like, if that's what an older head is thinking about Cody and they can't seem to respect him, like, maybe he could use somebody that's a bit controversial, a bit more aggressive to put Cody over. Then Cody just kind of does the work. But do you have someone else in mind that's not a Paul Heyman? I feel like everyone wants to go to this Paul Heyman.
I was definitely going to say Paul Heyman.
I said that's the easiest answer because he could get anyone over. I
feel like another good option would be Jimmy Hart. I feel like, first of all, I have to say this. I feel like the point of having a manager is to kind of reinforce whatever character you have or to complement it in some way, shape, or form, right?
How do you mute this?
Anytime, huh?
How do you mute this?
I'm weak.
I want to cough.
Go ahead. Do your thing. Do your thing, gangster.
Like, I don't want to be dying on the mic.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
y'all.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
That wasn't even that bad.
I'm trying to hold it back.
You were like... Your face is turning red. Your face is red now.
Well, no, it's because I'm hot.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was going to say Jimmy Hart. I feel like anytime you have a good wrestling manager, it's supposed to reinforce who you are as a character, right? Like The Undertaker has Paul Bearer. You have, Jesus, I'm trying to think of like other people. The Undertaker, you have Paul Bearer. At one point, Triple H, you had Stephanie McMahon. At one point, you had...
what about Brandy?
Who the hell told you it was open fight night? I don't want Brandy.
That would be funny though.
I don't
to have
want
your wife managing you. That's really aggressive.
That would actually work. I actually think that would work. I think that
I like it. No, my new answer is Brandy.
I think Brandy. To be honest, Brandy can be the classic wrestling manager, and I feel like it can have like wife undertones, like answering on his behalf.
Right. She'll take her hoops off and call herself a, you know.
Yeah. No, I feel like that could work. I feel like, but it ultimately kind of depends on what Cody wants to be. I feel like if you want someone to just like sing your praises, I feel like a Jimmy Hart would be the guy because he's just the high pitch, the megaphone. He just seems like a shouting type of guy. Like, I feel like if the idea is for someone to be a liaison between you and your affairs, I feel like Brandy would be the ideal choice.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's someone to kind of solidify you, not solidify you, but like reinforce this idea that you're this heavily protected superstar, I feel like that would be Paul Heyman, though. I feel like Paul Heyman, anytime he attaches himself to someone, it is a affirmation of who they are as a superstar, right? Like Roman Reigns was the big dog, right? Roman Reigns was the big dog. Brock Lesnar was the next big thing. And Paul Heyman being next to him solidified him as the next big thing. I feel like Paul Heyman does a really good job at reinforcing and affirming that whoever he's standing next to is the superstar. Because before he was managing people in WWE, at least because he had the Dangerous Alliance, before he was managing people in WWE, he was the creative genius behind ECW. So he has this reputation of having an eye for talent and being able to develop them. So it's like, yo, if I'm standing next to so-and-so, you already, like, you know the vibes. Like, you know what he on, you know what I'm on. But I think that the actual good choice is Brandy. I think Brandy could be the classic wrestling manager.
She'd be so entertaining.
Oh, 1,000%.
She could just reel it back and be a little less offensive. She could be super entertaining.
As long as she don't come out with that, who told you it was open fight night, we in business.
I don't think that was as bad as her just calling herself a black B word. That was the worst.
That was like
it was funny, but oh my girl.
It wasn't meant to be funny though. That was the worst part. But I love Brandy though. So I don't want to throw too much shade on her. But yeah, let us know what y'all think. Who should be Cody's classic wrestling manager? We're gonna move on to some more lighter news because Ruby Soho and Angelo Parker got married. They got married and they're having a child. I just want to know how you feel about it. I'm so happy.
I mean, I'm happy for them. It's like, I feel like it happens so often now that everyone's getting pregnant or married back to back.
Right.
Like, good for her. I hope that she's happy. Hope she has a safe and healthy, happy birth. I'm not saying I don't care. It's just that it's just so common. Like back to back, this person giving birth, this person giving birth, this person getting married or whatnot. Makes me wonder, like, is she just like packing it up with like wrestling at this point? Just because she didn't have a lot of motion on the way out. And I mean, if that's the case, I don't blame her. If she just wanted to just go ahead and get married and have a kid, you know, I would like to see her come back if she can.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats. Good for them. Didn't have that much to say on it, to be honest.
I'm just happy for them. I don't know if it's a matter of like them not liking wrestling anymore, not having a lot of motion, because like we see with Becky, right? Like she was in the middle of her world title reign and got pregnant. And so I don't think that she didn't have the intention of, I don't think that she had the intention of like never wrestling again. It was just like, I'm in a place in my life where I want to start a family. Right. And I feel like Ruby is at that place in her life as well. Right. Like that's the thing that I'm realizing as a man that is now in his early 30s. Like men and women are just biologically different in the sense that like my biological clock is kind of like forever. And a woman's biological clock is not that long. And it's like, if you want kids, you have to take advantage of a certain time frame. And it's like, if I don't do it at this time frame, pack it up.
I feel like a lot of them, when they have their kids, they just want to be a mom because just like, you know, it's a whole new job. It's a whole different role.
It's a whole different
role.
Like
you start to see the world very differently. So that's why I'm like, maybe she's just backing it up. Yeah. But I'm not against it. I'm really not. I mean, she did decently in her career in WWE more so than AEW, you know? She still has something to look back on. Yeah. But I mean, motherhood's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I hope she has a healthy, happy, you know, pregnancy, childbirth. Whatnot.
Same. And that they have a good marriage. Like
that's very important.
That's very important as well. Let's hope for that. But yeah, I just want to literally use that topic to say congratulations to them. But we're gonna be moving on because guess what? It's Double or Nothing weekend. It's also King and Queen of the Ring weekend. However, by the time this airs, that show would have already been done. So by this time, like, our predictions are probably up on Instagram or on our TikTok. And if you haven't, follow both of them. You're lost. So follow us on Instagram and TikTok. But we're going to go into our little predictions for the, I'm going to have a hard time because of all these freaking links. But we're going to go into our predictions for AEW Double or Nothing. So we're going to start off with Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. Wanted to know who you think is going to win.
I'm going to go with Orange Cassidy. I'm just winging it.
I feel it. I'm going to go with Orange Cassidy as well. We're going to go to the FTW World Title match with Hook versus Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's with Big Bill, by the way.
I'm never going to be on Chris Jericho's side ever again, so... Whoever's on the other side, so Hook. We're going to go with Hook.
I'm going to go with Hook as well. Now we have this IWGP World Heavyweight Title Eliminator match. We're going to have Jon Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita. Who do you think is going to win that?
Takeshita.
I'm going to go with Takeshita too.
Yeah.
And then we have, for the AEW TNT Championship, we have a barbed wire steel cage match, a.k.a. Blood. We have Adam Copeland, the champion, your favorite, versus Malachi Black. Who do you have?
The last cage match I saw Mr. Adam in was so disappointing. I'm just going to have to go with Malachi Black.
I'm going to go with Malachi Black as well.
I just had a flashback to WrestleMania from like the other year.
39?
Was it
39? With Finn Balor?
Yeah, that was just bad.
I was there in person for that. I'll keep my opinions to myself because, whoo. But yeah, it was so funny story about that. That we went to WrestleMania. My wonderful fiance took me to WrestleMania 39.
Shout out to Bay.
She took me, and I remember after that match, I was like, oh man, that was tough. That was crazy. She looked at me, she said, babe, I love you. I'm never going to a wrestling event ever again. I was like, dag. But I understood, though. I got it. Because it was a lot. You felt that in your heart. You felt it.
I mean, E for effort for going, because it's very hard to get your girl to get out there.
Yeah.
Like to extract any girl. First of all, to get any girl that doesn't watch wrestling to sit down and watch wrestling, it's
That's
like pulling teeth.
That's a task.
You actually extracted her from your house and brought her to
extract. First of all, don't make it seem like a partner is a pimple. You said you have to extract your partner.
It takes a lot of work.
You got to get the needle. You have to cut around the whitehead, and then you can pop it.
No,
that's how you extract.
Like, to get a girl to go to a show, like, what did you do? Did you lose? Like, did you win a bet or something? Like,
nah, she just did it from the goodness of her own heart.
Oh wow, nah, that's wifey.
That's
wifey,
and that's why we're getting married. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Malachi Black on this one. I feel like it's time for him to have a singles title, and I feel like Adam came to AEW to put over younger talent, and I also feel like he's gonna go for the world title as well. So I'm gonna go with Malachi Black. But oh wow, did my notes just disappear just like
that? Gotta fight through all those links again.
Literally. All right, we got the AEW World Women's Title match. We have Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb. Who do you have?
Oh, they're not taking off of Toni.
They're not.
It's not.
Toni's the best thing they have going on right now. Like, just as a woman's character, as a character in general, she's just the best thing they got going on. So I could definitely see Toni.
Oh, no, I like her character. Like, I may not be watching steadily, but I see her clips. I just love this commitment to a character I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason why it should work. You know, I feel like if you would have told me and I was in the meeting room that, yeah, I want to be like is what, the 40s or 50s? I don't know what era it is. You would have told me like you want to bring a 40s or 50 character to a modern day wrestling ring. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this sounds stupid. It sounds illogical. But she's so committed to the role, but she looks like she's having so much fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, she could like come off serious enough as a champion. Like, it's like a mixture of the entertainment for me, while her just being one of the best few wrestlers I've ever seen from that roster. So honestly, I love it so much. I do. And I love like what they're doing with her and Mariah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be a thing in and of itself too, because Mariah can go. I'm looking forward to it.
And she's entertaining on her own too.
She is. So the next we have for the AEW International Championship, you have Roderick Strong versus Will Ospreay. That's going to be a banger. I want to know, who do you have?
Well, I want to go with Will because I am biased. I love Will Ospreay the way I love Seth Rollins. So like, I'm always going to be on Will Ospreay side. But I feel like it's going to be a pretty good match. Yeah, not pretty. It will be a great match. That'll probably be like my second favorite match next to Sasha and Willow. But we're going to get to that.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah, but Will.
I'm going to go with Will as well. I feel like in addition to the fact that he's just been picking up momentum as a character, especially just like since being in AEW, Undisputed Kingdom has just been losing a lot of steam to me. It doesn't feel as special as it did. It doesn't feel as special as it did when the group was first introduced. And I think it's more so because Adam isn't healthy. I feel like Adam not being healthy is a big reason as to why the group is not where it should be. Because I've never considered Adam to be a manager or a mouthpiece. I've just considered him to be an overall great performer and someone who should lead a faction and lead by example by kicking cats in the back of the head with that last shot. I feel like if he's not healthy, this whole thing loses steam. And because of that, I feel like they're going to capitalize on the fact that Will Ospreay is just gaining that steam. So I'm going to go with Will Ospreay. We'll go Will Ospreay on that one. Next is the AEW TBS title. Willow Nightingale, Mercedes Moné. Who do we have?
Is it bad that I want Willow to retain, even though I feel like they're going to give it to Sasha? Yeah, no. I love Willow so much, and I love her even more through watching Sasha on AEW because I did it again. Damn it. Mercedes. It's too much mouth to say Mercedes, and then the Monet. It's just too much.
It's too much M's.
Like. This lady's gonna hate me.
That was disgusting.
Pause.
She said it's too much.
You're worse than me. But
ooh, that was good.
No, but all right, I'm not gonna say her name. She who shall not be named, okay? I'm not gonna lie, she did not gain my interest till I finally watched her get face to face with Willow for that signing. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm seeing the same person I can't name from WWE again. Right. It gave me like the same vibes when she was having her match planned against Bailey back during like the pandemic or whatnot. And, you know, she had that same energy of like, you know, my name is bigger than this title type of deal. Like I loved it. It felt like it wasn't so forced and rehearsed. That's my biggest ick with her being there. I want her to just speak from the heart.
Yeah.
She has the same writer, I guess, from WWE she bought over there, allegedly. No that's what I heard from another podcast. But my biggest ick with her is just how unnatural she just has come off. But she felt so natural and in her element when she was right in front dealing with Willow. And I got super excited. I know it's gonna be a banger either way. Obviously, if she goes over, you know, like I'm gonna be happy either way. But like I just for some reason really, really fell in love with Willow that I kind of want to see her hold on to it a little bit longer and then they can have another rematch.
Yeah.
You know, is that wrong?
I don't think it's wrong. And I think that's actually great for AEW because that's how stars are made, right? Like I remember when 2004 Triple H, he was so hated. Not to say that Mercedes is hated. He was so hated that anybody he went up against became a star. Shelton Benjamin, even Eugene. At the time, the revival of Shawn Michaels, then Randy Orton, then Batista. Like Triple H was such a disliked figure that whomever he went up against became more liked. And that's how you make stars. And I feel like Willow is a star. I love Willow. I love Willow. And to have that desire to be like, actually, I want to see her hold on to it a little bit longer. It creates a win-win situation because if she wins, it's like, all right, whoo, she's holding on to her title. If she loses, it's like, I don't want Mercedes to hold it. I don't like Mercedes. Why don't we get the title back on Willow? And that's how people are going to want to rally behind Willow. I also kind of feel like there's going to be a heel turn with Chris Statlander and I forgot his name. Stokely?
Oh, yeah.
Stokely.
Yeah, like besties,
I feel like they're going to turn on Willow. I don't know why. I just feel it in my spirit. But I feel like that's going to happen.
Stokely next to...
Stokely next to Mercedes?
Say her name again?
I was about to say, you was about to say, yeah.
Let me just stop talking. I'm sorry.
Next we have the AEW World Title match, Swerve Strickland versus the Father of the Year, Christian Cage. Who do we have in this match? Swerve,
you know
Christian.
Who I'm going with. All for my own personal reasons.
You're going with
Christian
Cage? Wow. You said that with a head high.
No, he lost me completely, Swerve, after that whole music thing. I can't.
Oh, you talking about Black and Ugly?
Yeah, I hate seeing him, hearing about him. That just pissed me off in all forms of matters. I'm good. I'm very good off of him. He needs to like lose the belt already. I'm fine.
I'm gonna go with Swerve. Oh,
you picked a side.
First of all, you moving the mic closer. By the way, I'm just saying these predictions are not from my heart, they're from my head. I think that Swerve Strickland is gonna win. All right. That doesn't mean don't me. I think
the Drake comparison from earlier makes a lot more sense now.
Ooh. We're not doing this. I think that Swerve is going to win, mostly because I feel like they want him to have a pretty lengthy title reign. That's the reason why I think Swerve is going to win. Lord, that was heavy. A minor. Anyway, Anarchy in the Arena match for the main event. We have FTR, Bryan Danielson, and Darby Allin versus the Elite, which includes Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, Kazuchika Okada, and non-Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Who do we have?
There's so many people I didn't like in that batch of names. I have to choose a side. Damn.
Yeah, now you got to pick a side.
Oh, this is hard. Damn. Fine, I'll be biased. Wherever side Okada's on, I'll deal with it.
The Elite?
I'll cope.
You'll cope?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the faces in this one, just because I feel like anytime there's an Anarchy in the Arena match, well, the more memorable ones have had the faces going over. So I feel like the faces are gonna go over. I feel like we're gonna get FTR and Bryan and Darby especially if Darby is popping out with a flamethrower at the end of Dynamite. So that was
reckless.
Yeah,
that was so reckless.
I mean, it's on brand for Darby at this point. That's just his brand. But that concludes our predictions. Let us know how you feel about Double or Nothing. Yeah, let us know in the comments below if our predictions are right, if they're wrong, whatever. Just tell us in the comments. And that concludes our season 1 premiere. Season 5 premiere. Season 5 premiere. Angie's not gonna like that. Season 5 premiere of Culture 316. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next week.
You doing it?
Yeah, I'm doing it.